What's going on there, folks? Hope everybody's doing good today on a nice, beautiful Saturday weekend. You know, it's nice actually outside. And we got a special occasion going on this weekend. We actually have the triplets' birthday this weekend. And the triplets, Michael, Joseph, and Sophia, are all going to have a nice little special birthday party today with some family members. And of course, tomorrow is their actual birthday when they actually turned 5. So 5 years ago, it went pretty quick. And you know, it's funny, we always talk about how in life, enjoy your kids because it goes so quick, right? You know, so enjoy your kids, it goes quickly, you know. And speaking of kids, I got a nice little shout out to my buddy Jose. Jose, congratulations on the baby. I wish you nothing but the best. And Jackie, I hope everything's going with the dog and with you. I know things will be kind of chaotic, but I do hope you all feel better. But today what we're going to do is we're going to have a little fun, and especially Aunt Jackie, I know you've always kind of wondered what I do with my penne alla vodka. So believe it or not, I'm making a penne alla vodka today. What I'm going to do is create the sauce, detail the sauce, and then from there, I'm also going to kind of just go over the basic steps of creating a penne alla vodka afterwards. The party's not till a little bit later, so what I'm going to do is just basically just go over how to make a simple sauce of penne alla vodka. Victoria, love you. Hope Frankie's doing good. So believe it or not, your basic ingredients for your penne alla vodka. And today what we got going on, we got penne alla vodka. I'm going to have stuffed mushrooms today. I'm also going to be doing a meatball and basic Caesar salad. It's nothing crazy, but it's a little bit of fun. So what we need today, what we have are most important ingredients for our penne alla vodka. So we obviously, mind you, when I put my garlic in the refrigerator, a little trick, you see that little coagulated thing going on over there? That's olive oil, and that's what olive oil is supposed to do. So when you're putting garlic in your refrigerator to make it last a little longer, add a little fresh olive oil to it. When you add a little olive oil to it, it'll actually save your garlic by almost 2 months. So instead of garlic kind of getting a green stem and all the other yucky stuff, and you're winding up really kind of not wanting to use it after 3 months, or after 3 weeks, I should say, put a little olive oil in there, and believe it or not, it actually saves the olive oil, the garlic, for almost 3 months on top of your lifestyle, on top of your lifetime. So I add oil to my garlic, just a little trick for you. So we need the base of garlic and oil. Now I do like to use a blended oil. All right, the blended oil is ideally a 10 to 25% oil, and what that usually means is you're having 90% of a vegetable style oil. It could be canola, it could be soy, it could be vegetable. This one particular brand actually has vegetable oil, which is your canola, and then 10% of your olive oil. So when you're doing any kind of your sauces, ideally you don't want to use an extra virgin olive oil because it actually will burn off the items that are going to be put onto the bottom of the pan. And that could be the simplest things as onions, it could be celery, carrots, or some napoletans out there. It could be just regular garlic. So when you're using your extra virgin olive oil, although some people like it, try to go with a blend. One, it'll be a little bit better and it won't burn as much. All right. And then what we also have, some other ingredients. So you got the garlic, got the oil, basil. Basil is a dish. Basil is really added at the end of the dish, and it's more for just to add a nice little fresh flavor of a nice fresh herb inside of the dish. So the basil is actually one of the last things that you put in. But along with a vodka dish, you obviously need vodka. All right. Now with the vodka, you don't want to use a flavored vodka, and because this is a kids' party, I will not be adding vodka to the dish. But it's a pretty fun thing when you're doing a vodka sauce, you're adding your oil, you're browning your garlic, and you're browning, most important in a vodka dish, pancetta. Some people use bacon. Some people skip this dish part of the dish altogether. Pancetta is the most important thing when it comes to a vodka sauce, and we always skip that step. Or you might find some places out in the market when you go to a restaurant, they won't use pancetta. They'll either use bacon, they'll use pork fat. It adds a little bit of a different element to it, but you want the pancetta. It's got the nice flavor to it. So I actually have a nice bit of pancetta will be going into the dish. I also add onion, but whereas most people use regular white onion, I use my shallots. The shallots is always something of a nice little flavor to it. So my base will start with oil, garlic, shallots, and then diced chopped pancetta. Brown that off a little bit. At that point, in about 4 to 5 minutes, that's when you want to add the vodka and you want to burn it. So a strong recommendation when you're doing your vodka, make sure if you're using a pot like this, you have a lighter like this because you want to flambe your vodka. But again, it's a kid's party, so no vodka. But it doesn't matter to me. I can drink it anyway. One of the last things that you add along with the basil at the end, to get that pink color, you're actually adding a heavy cream. So you're going to use some 40% heavy cream and 2 good handfuls of grated Parmesan cheese. And that's really a basis of your vodka sauce. Then from there, you want to make sure you use penne alla vodka. I got called on it once by my beautiful, loving daughter, Christina. I had a couple of years ago where I did a rigatoni alla vodka, and I don't know why I continued to say it was penne alla vodka, and of course my beautiful daughter decided to say, no, Dad, it's not penne, it's rigatoni. Whatever, it is what it is. Kids keep us in check. Anyway, let's get this thing started. So I'm going to start with a medium high on my stove, and the reason being because you need to get that burn off. A little trick, when you're using some of your tomato cans, if you're using a pot that has the coating on it, ideally like a good black pot or like a Teflon style pan, you're okay with the bottom of your pot. It's got that extra protection. I happen to have that, but I also use a steel pot. But the bottoms aren't very durable and they tend to burn quickly. So a little trick that I like to do, and it's something that my uncles taught, wow, almost 30 years ago at my uncle's restaurant, where they actually save the tins of the sauce. And putting that on the burner, it'll smoke up the house. It'll smoke up the house for a good minute or two, legitimately. But that's why you got a fan. And once you put this on, it'll actually cause a little bit of a barrier between the actual pot and your steel pot, the burner in the steel pot. So it's a little trick to use. It's a pretty cool trick. Every time I use a good pan of sauce, especially when I'm using a little bit more than like one little cans, like these little guys, when I have my little gatherings, I go with the big guys. Yeah, 2 hands. Anyway, so that's what I usually use when I have a big gathering or catering events. That's what I'll use is those big cans. And right there, let's get a good picture of that real quick. So it'll go right on the top of the burner. It will smoke, like I said before, and the pot goes right on top. It will start smoking legitimately in about a minute. Thank God the wife is not home because I always get yelled at when the house smokes, but it is what it is. Hello to my cousin Vic, Janet. Hello, always good to see you guys. Paulette, how you doing? Guys, thank you so much for watching. So on the bottom of the pot, you're going to do roughly about a little more than a quarter of a cup, so about a third of a cup of oil. You're going to want to get that warm. And what I'm going to start doing right off the bat is I'm going to get my shallots and my garlic ready. So let's get a good shot of the cutting board. Probably not going to get a good shot of the cutting board. Let's move it over here. Hey, you can see me now. All right, so you're going to take some of that garlic. Using the oil that's on there, don't be afraid. It's not a big deal to use, to have that oil that you're basically going to pick out of the pot or out of the container. But basically, that's all you're going to do. Just put it right on the cutting board. Nice little chops. All right. You will start getting a nice little smell going off of that stove because, again, remember, you got that burner on. So it's already starting to pick up on my end. You might start seeing it smoke a little bit. Again, exactly like I said to you. You're going to use roughly about, on a big pot like this or a big can of tomatoes like this, you're going to use roughly about 6 to 7 bulbs of garlic, depending on the sizes. I have pretty good medium-sized garlic, so what I'm going to use is about 6 of those. All right, but if you have smaller ones, you want to go to more 7 or 8. If you have the large ones, they're known as the elephant garlic. They're the big monster guys. Those you could get away with about 4 or 5 of them. There's a lot of pungency off of those things. All right. Yes, they're all different names of garlic. Okay. This is getting ready to go. While that's getting ready, I'm going to get my shallot ready. There we go. Shallot. Cut the top and the bottom off, kind of like just like an onion. And shallot is nothing more than a nice, nice little onion. It's got a nice purple color to it, but it's got a nice flavor. It's kind of a cross between a red onion and a white onion. They're very small, but they're they tend to be expensive. A lot of flavor on them, though. Really nice flavor, especially when you mix them with in alcohol of some type. So either white wine or a Burgundy, or even like in this case, if we had a vodka, it would add nice flavor. So you're taking your shallot, cutting it long ways. You want to get kind of a dice look to it, then across. And you guys should be able to see that. Just slice away. All right. So the onion's ready. The garlic is ready. These are all going to go in together. All right. And then what I have is my pancetta. So I bought a pack of pancetta. It has slices inside of it. You can use diced. It's encouraged if you can, especially if you're kind of just making a simple vodka sauce. But if you're doing something like I'm doing, where you're making a significant amount, try to go with the bigger packs. So you could either get the whole block of pancetta, but be prepared to spend about $7, $8 a pound. Not necessary. With that kind of product, you're only looking at maybe a quarter of a pound of pancetta. You're not looking for a lot of pancetta. In this case, I bought a sliced pancetta, and this is, I believe, yeah, this is 16 ounces. This is about a pound of pancetta, and I'm using about a third of it. So I really don't need a lot. It's more just to get that flavor going. So with the slice, what I'll do is I'm going to roll that pancetta, kind of just like that. I'm going to cut it in long ways, and then I'm going to dice it. Just like that. It's bacon, guys. It's an Italian bacon, so it will tend to slide a little bit. It'll tend to move around a little bit. But it just adds just a total different element to a penne alla vodka. And a lot of catering companies, when they go into those dishes and they're being asked to make penne alla vodka, you know, they bang you guys out for $60, $70 for a full tray, or at that time the full tray. You know, I've seen it where it gets almost $110 for a tray of penne alla vodka. And what they're doing is they're using very inferior products. They're using a cheap pasta. They're using a very simple tomato, probably some tomato that they got sitting in the back that they got to get rid of. But the biggest ingredients, like the pancetta, they won't use the pancetta. They'll literally go to like a bacon, or literally a bacon fat. And you get some of those guys out there that really care about what they do. I mean, there's quite a few people out there that I've worked with when I was in the distribution, of food distribution, and they actually take a lot of pride in their stuff. But majority of the people out there, they're just looking to make a quick buck, and unfortunately, that's the way of the world. So hopefully, by my teaching you guys some of these dishes here, one, it creates an interest to you on how to cook these things, but also, more importantly, hopefully I educate you in, when you're out, that you understand what you might be buying. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put that garlic and the shallots in. That's going to be a quick cook. That's going to be roughly about a minute. You're only looking for a little bit of brown. You're not looking for it to get burnt, because it's very important that you don't go that route. So it'll take about 45 seconds, maybe to a minute, and then you're pretty much ready to go. And then you want to get that pancetta right in. All right. You will have a bit of a slide effect with the lid on the oven. If you're dealing with a flat top, you got it even better, because you're not dealing with burners. The flat top is always the best way to go. All right. So about 20 seconds, I'm going to be adding my pancetta. Everybody know what this is? Anybody? Give me a shout out. Let me see if any of you guys know what this is. I'll wait. Another 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I'm going to be adding the pancetta. Hey, my mother-in-law joined us. Hey, Mom. Okay, we're just about there, so now I'm going to add my pancetta in. All right. The pancetta, like I said, is going to cook for roughly about 2 minutes or so. You want to stir this around once you get it in there. You want to first get it to where it's more layered out. but just the same, you want to get a nice flavor across the board that's going to marry the garlic and the Italian bacon. And then once you do that, it's just a home run waiting to happen. While that's going on, I asked you a question about this. This, a lot of people know, maybe it's a back scratcher. Some people use it. This is a pasta, a spaghetti stirrer, for the most part. But there's a little trick with the thing in itself, and that is that little hole in the middle. That is roughly a pound of pasta. That's what you guys can. That's actually a quarter pound of pasta. So if you put your pasta, your spaghetti into this circle, if it's just the two of you, two layers of that equates to a serving for 2 people. So a little bit of a trick. I only found that out recently, and I thought that was pretty cool. Why did I put tomato? Why did I put the tomato in a can? I personally, in the pot bowl, I personally like to use whole tomatoes. Crushed tomatoes are quick, easy sauce. It's fun. But when I'm dealing with a Penne vodka, it's just something about a stripped tomato and crushed tomato, like hand crush. It's a totally different element to the dish. You get a nice little chunk of tomatoes with your pasta, with your cheese. It's just a really incredible flavor. So what I like to do is I like to actually use fresh whole tomatoes, crush them by hand, and then I put them into the sauce. More of like a, oh, Steve's on. Steve, hello, brother. All right, so the penny for the pancetta, you're not going to get a good look at that, so I'm not even going to bother. You're looking for almost like a translucent color. Once you get that translucent color in the pancetta, that's when you'll add your vodka. Add your vodka to the dish, flambe it, make sure it's not over a low cover, like this. You know, bring it up a little bit, maybe bring it to here, and have a cover ready to let that vodka burn off a little bit. But that would be if I was doing a regular vodka sauce. Again, it's a kid's party. So let me get my water running because I'm going to need to wash my hands. So give me 2 seconds. Okay. So now, these are whole tomatoes. I'm going to crush them. And again, it's just a totally different element to the pasta for the penne alla vodka. It's just a nice look to it. So let's crush this up. And basically, you're looking for strands, okay? But a little bit more finer than that. And I'm going to continue going on with this. And then I also add, like I said, 1 can of crushed tomato. And that will be just to kind of work along with the almost like a puree effect for the tomato. And like I said, it's just such a nicer way of presenting a vodka dish. For folks that are out here on Long Island, especially like in the Suffolk County area, I made a comment before about how guys like to cut corners and they like to, when they're out there, especially for catering events, how when you order something, they'll use inferior products. Ironically, I happen to have a very good friend on, and that's Steve Nappy right there, folks. Steve Nappy is the owner of Nick and Gina's out here in Center Reach, and it's a nice Italian restaurant. It's actually a very nice little place. I can tell you that Nick and Gina's is a nice little place. Steve takes a lot of pride in his food. So if you're ever out in this way, stop by Nick and Gina's. Tell them that Joe asked you to stop by, or Joe said to stop by. Good people, just in general, him and his wife. But all around, he does do the right thing with his food. So, Steve, enjoy. All right, folks, let me go clean my hands off one more time. The tomato is crushed. Okay, so now the pancetta is exactly where I want it to be. The garlic is, like I said, it's kind of like got a nice little tint of white to it. It's not fully cooked or brown, which we don't want. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right ahead and add my tomato sauce right to it. And along with the tomato sauce, I'm also going to add that 1 can of regular crushed tomato. There we go. And then the 1 can of tomato, crushed. And then the last thing to do is, I like the extra stuff there, so I'm going to add a little bit of water to this can. Get the rest of that tomato that's in there. For your penne vodka, nice simple seasonings: salt, pepper, oregano, basil, and some places I like to add a little crushed red pepper. So do I, especially when I'm doing it for a catering event, especially when I'm doing it for an adult day. But again, the kids are turning 5 tomorrow. We do have a gathering today, so I have to really kind of cut the alcohol out, and of course the red pepper, because I don't want the kids that might want to eat this not be able to enjoy it. So unfortunately, again, the what do you call it? The red pepper will be taken out of this dish. And when you're using red pepper on most normal circumstances, you're only talking maybe about a teaspoon. You're not using a lot. It's just more for the flavor. But again, a teaspoon cooked over a period of 2 or 3 hours tends to be a long time. All right. So garlic, black pepper. I do like to add a little extra garlic, granulated garlic. I know I got fresh garlic. I just like that flavor. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of garlic, 2 teaspoons of oregano, a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. It goes a long way, those guys. All right, those are your main spices. They do go a long way, so you don't want to overpower the dish. Okay. All right. So from here, this pot of sauce will now cook down for roughly about 2 hours. So roughly around 2 o'clock is when this pot of sauce would technically be done. So I'm going to give you now the basics of how this will come to play. So now your penne alla vodka, again, chunky sauce with pancetta, but what's added to it at the end, what's going on, buddy? What's added to this dish is the Parmesan cheese at the end. So when you finally turn your sauce off after 2 hours, you're going to put the Parmesan sauce in, you're going to put the heavy cream in, and you're going to mix that around, and then you're going to add your basil. Now your basil is roughly only about maybe 4 or 5 pieces, but you want to chop it up nicely. And you know, I'll be posting pictures later on today of how the actual pasta dish will actually come together. But that's a basic vodka sauce. It's nice and simple. Base of oil, shallots or onion if you want to go with that. Garlic. Somebody saying hello. Can I say hello? Hello. There you go. That's a bunch of Daddy's friends. One of Daddy's friends, Janet, saying hello. Let me try that again. Oil, shallots or onion, your pancetta and your garlic are your base of your pot. Once you get the pancetta to a nice translucent color, then you add your vodka, roughly about a half a cup of vodka. Burn it off, make sure it's not over the top. And from that point on, you want to let it cook for about a good 2 hours. Once you let it cook for 2 hours, at the very end again, heavy cream, roughly about 2 cups of heavy cream, 2 cups of Parmesan sauce, Parmesan cheese, and about 4 ounces of basil finely chopped. Throw it into the pot, mix it all together, add your pasta. At that point, you take that pasta, you bake it in the oven for another 20 minutes. It's done. The pasta you obviously want to cook before you put it in the oven. Guys, thank you for watching. Simple penne alla vodka 101. Nice and simple for regular sauce. I'll show you pictures later on. I gotta go salt the meatballs now. Thanks for watching.